Rider University chime time is 7:39. Good morning. I am Bill Spadea with you till 10 o'clock this morning, talking Jersey. Taking your calls, 1-800-283-101.5. As we were talking about earlier, there is now a race for the United States Senate. There was always going to be an election, but now we've got a race. About a week or so before the primary election that was held earlier this week on Tuesday, poll came out showing that it was a 4-point race between the expected, at the time, Republican nominee Bob Hugin and incumbent Democratic Senator Bob Menendez. Now, what happened on Tuesday may have made the race even closer. Incumbent Democratic Senator Bob Menendez losing 6 of the 21 counties to a completely unknown candidate with only a few thousand followers on Twitter, somebody that had no money, no name ID, etc. And that protest vote was certainly something that has raised eyebrows on the other side of the aisle. Now, on the other side of the aisle, in the Republican camp, Bob Hugin, a decisive victory, earning more than 75% of the votes, showing that the Republican Party certainly has rallied behind this political newcomer who really has an incredible resume, head of Celgene and former U.S. Marine. He joins me now. Bob Hugin, welcome to New Jersey 101.5. How are you?
Good morning, Bill. Great to be with you. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. So tell me, what has changed since Tuesday? We hear your ads running. We know that this is going to be a very well-funded effort. You came out with some momentum with that poll that showed you only 4 points behind the incumbent Democratic senator. But then after the results on the primary day, clearly showing some vulnerability. What's happening on your camp?
I think these are two important events, obviously the poll and the primary, but it's really part of a continuum and a long-term campaign that we've been building since we announced in February to really get out there and meet people and every part of the state to ensure we understand the issues and convey the values that I bring and really let them know that we really want to listen to and care about what they have. So these are two steps in a process that's going to culminate with victory on November the 6th. Absolutely part of the plan. We're excited about the momentum we're building, and we're moving in the right direction. Now,
you've been successful in this early run, defining your opponent with kind of wrapping him around the whole corruption and bribery trial. Even though the feds decided not to pursue a retrial, and I think that has put your opponent a little bit on the defensive now. For his part, he's coming at you, painting your time as the head of biotech giant Celgene as just profiting off the backs of cancer patients. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I just say, listen, when people understand the full story and the facts, I'm proud of everything I've done in my life, and the company Celgene that I'm not with anymore and I don't speak for, but has done a great job in really making a difference in major cancers, turning terminal diseases to chronic diseases and positioning for cures, and has one of the most compassionate patient assistance programs in the world, certainly in the country, where people in need get access to the medicines that they need. And I think the message is resonating that you can't, it's misleading and mischaracterizing the history. And I'm proud of what I've done. So we're putting the issues out there for people to understand that. And I think what's really resonating with people is the fact that they're tired of someone who only represents a small constituency that they think is theirs, and people who give them money and the donor class for them. And so we're making the case this is about all New Jerseyans being represented, all New Jerseyans getting a vote and a voice. And so we're very excited about what we're seeing in terms of the momentum that's building, and we're open and we're encouraging everybody to join our effort and move things forward.
Now, Bob, the number one issue, you look at poll after poll. There was a Monmouth University poll that came out showing that not only do 45% of New Jerseyans say their number one problem issue is real estate taxes, but then another 25% on top of that named other taxes. So literally 7 in 10 voters are saying our taxes are too high. Where are you on the issue of taxes? Let's talk about the new tax reform bill that came through. Clearly, we're seeing an economic benefit with regard to unemployment, certainly Black and Hispanic unemployment at record lows across the country. But what about New Jersey? And is that what you're hearing from people? And what do you intend to do about it when you get to Washington?
Well, there's two things. First of all, affordability is the number one issue, right? People are concerned about are they going to be able to stay with their kids and their grandkids and be able to stay in the state. And it's not a Democrat or Republican issue. Everybody who lives in the state feels this, and it's reaching crisis proportions. I think the things that we have to do as leaders are make sure we're accountable and speak up on the issues. So certainly in Washington, I'm going to do what it takes to support the New Jersey resident much better in the sense of saying we got to fix this cap on state and local tax deductions. 10,000 is inadequate. It's really penalizing. New Jersey's not a rich state; it's a high-cost state. And we've got to get that cap raised and do everything we can to make sure we get the kind of subsidies back. We're already 50 out of 50. To take any subsidy away from New Jersey is bad. So Washington, we've got to do everything to bring more resource back to New Jersey. And then secondly, on state issues, there's only 3 positions in the state where all voters are asked to vote for somebody, and that's the 2 Senate seats and the governorship. And so there's only 3 people that really have a responsibility to speak on every issue that affects everybody in New Jersey. And the issues of what's happening in Trenton, tax increases are not part of the solution. $1.7 billion in new taxes on top of being so highly taxed, it's long-term disaster for the state. People got to step up. I don't care what position you are, municipal, county, state, federal. You got to speak up and say what's best for New Jersey in the long term. And that tax increase, we saw the recent report talking about how it's going to destroy jobs over time.
It's crippling.
Stand up, be accountable.
It's crippling, and people know it. And it seems that there's an arrogance in Trenton. I mean, I was talking about it this morning. That yesterday they passed all these bills. They're worried about nonsense, things that are not going to make us safer. I mean, you're talking about lactating rooms in the airports, for goodness sake, and we got a third of our debt going, or a third of our budget going to debt service. You've got a quarter of our budget going to pensions and benefits. They don't want to tackle the big problems. It's very frustrating. Let me ask you. I've got a break for traffic and weather, but I want to invite you to come in studio over the next couple of weeks. I would love to have you in here taking calls from listeners and really get that one-on-one interaction with our audience.
That'd be great. I really appreciate it. Look forward to it.
All right, we'll make it happen. Bob, thank you, and enjoy the weekend. Good luck on the campaign trail, and Semper Fi.
Thanks, Bill.
You take care. All right, that is Bob Hugin. He's a former head of Celgene, which is one of the major companies in the biotech industry, certainly involved in treatments for people with debilitating diseases. And not only that, served in the Marine Corps. His kids serve in the Marine Corps. And I'll tell you something, it's a close race. This is going to be a race. Invitation extended to Senator Bob Menendez. We'll see if he takes me up on it. 746 on New Jersey 101.5. Traffic and weather next.